Real quick, I want to do a fair use, fair use, fair use. Yeah. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachaha Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To you sisters, you Achwathim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yehawada with the lesson. And this is John the Baptist's head was put in a charger, and it was silver chargers, and the silver charger was quite a bit of money, right? And this is basically gonna be I guess I'm gonna give it a two title thing. She is dead. She that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. And then she that is our enemy. All right. And those are two different scriptures, but it's just representing the the chaos goblin, right? Which is Eve, right? And I'm just gonna kind of point out mainly just the the money basically was like a twofold thing for this chaos goblin, right? And but yeah, let me go ahead, and I'm not to mention I picked this because most of these are like Edomite looking things, so I think this is technically supposed to be like an Edomite, but this look the closest thing I could see that look close to being a Jake, so that way you can get like a sense of what happened, how Jake, he was basically he was a Levite too. So that's why when you look at this, I believe the crown, the top part is open because he was a Levite, right? But a lot of that goes back to these, what you call them. That's why they put the little thing representing the sun and all that other stuff that goes back to the sun gods, them worshiping the sun, because it wouldn't be like that. But he might have wore a band or a mitri or something, and the top part would be open because he was a Levite. Let's see what else they can show it. Yeah. See, I think it. See how the top part is open. See. Basically, he was a Levite. The top part of his head was open. Right. See. Showing. Yeah. See. He was a Levite, right? Showing he had his head wrapped around his head, but the top part, his crown of his head was exposed, right? For all those who think they can cover their head, and this guy is a Levite, right? Who Yahushua said is the greatest prophet to ever live, right? This was done in the 16th century, which is probably like a remake, of what Jake did. And it was Esau that remade it, but They were probably trying to remake it exactly the way it was, to be as original as they possibly could. At the same time, basically making him an Edomite, and then putting these little pointed parts, like, like the sun, right, for sun worship, right? But it is brown. And if you look at the way it is, it almost looks like a Jake. So that's why I picked this part. But yeah. So this is First Timothy's, or 1 Timothy 5, chapter 5, verse 5. And now she that is a widow indeed and desolate trusteth in the power of the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You're truly a widow. A true widow would trust in Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, right? And continueth in supplications, right? Which basically means prayers. It's like another way of saying prayers. And prayers, which basically they're, saying it again, technically. Night and day. See? Right? And that's what a true a widow would do. A woman of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. But she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth, right? And that is going to basically segue into, I can't remember her name, Herodias or something like that. I think that was her name, is Herodias. Yeah, that demon, right? She was a chaos goblin back then. So there's nothing new under the sun. For our women are our enemy, right? And these things give in charge that they may be blameless. So these are the things the Lord gave charge over matters, certain circumstances, that women who are truly a widow may not be blameless. I mean, may be blameless and not caught up in madness, caught up in folly, trying to have fun. Oh, well, I guess my husband is dead, or he's about to die, and I'm just gonna do wild and crazy things, you know. And I get it. The Lord said, if matter of fact, let's get that too. Yeah, so this is 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 38. So then he that giveth her in marriage, right, doeth well, right? So if you marry a virgin, or you marry a woman that's a widow, right? Her husband dies, you marry her, you do well, right? But he that giveth her not in marriage doeth better, right? So whether you're a man, if you stay single and just serve the Lord, this is the Apostle Paul. He's saying you'll have a better life, but also she will have a better life, right? I mean, as far as trying to live in pleasure, within this world, not knowing that this world is, especially now in this present world, it's collapsing. You definitely don't need to be in folly or trying to live in pleasure, right? This, this is passing away, and it's only evident that it's passing away, right? Especially now. But I mean, it was prevalent at any time technically. But I get it. People get lonely. It seemed like your whole life is passing you by. But but serving the Lord, but he that giveth her not in marriage doeth better. So you women stay single, or you men stay single and serve the Lord, you actually do better. You'll actually do better. Not the way it's this social uh, media construct, or even social construct of these people. They're smiling, they're being happy, they're this and that, and yeah, it get lonely and stuff like that. But hey, there's a reward at the end of this thing, right? And you don't need distractions when you're trying to get an award, right, for this life, right? It says the wife that is bound by law as long as her husband liveth, right? So if a woman did get married, she's bound to her husband, right? As long as he live. If he's alive, she cannot be with another man. That is complete adultery. And adultery is a sin punishable unto death. But being that Esau Edom is ruling over us, and we're not in our power seat to execute the power, these women live in pleasure, right? They do their own thing, right? But if her husband be dead, see, now if her husband dies, she is at liberty to be married to whom she will, only in the outer one, which is Yahweh Shai, right? But but she is happier if she abides, right, without a husband. She will be happier, right? Not as happy as, oh, you're taking pictures and carnival cruises, and you're doing this and doing that, and you're gyrating your body all over the place because you figure, this is your chance to be free. So then you have 8 or 9 men. So before you would have been considered a virtuous woman, but now your husband died. Now or you divorced them, or whatever. However they do it nowadays, most likely they divorce, and now they let all social dudes just plow through them, right? And you'd have been considered a virtuous woman unto the power. Not forget what everybody else think, right? If you'd have just stayed a widow or divorced, just and you'll be a virtuous woman to the one who it matters to, right? After my judgment, see, after the judgment of the Most High, man. And Yahweh Shai taught the Apostle Paul personally in his perfection. That's the reason why he knew things that the other apostles didn't know, because he got taught through the perfection of Yahweh Shai, man. So he couldn't be flawed, right? And think also, and I think also that I have the spirit of the power, right? Because he was taught by Yahweh Shai. He said, "Man, this is." I'm thinking this because I have the spirit, and I'm able to say these things, right? Because he was taught directly from Yahweh Shai in Yahweh Shai's perfection, right? The other apostles, or what they were called disciples at one time, they were taught by Yahweh Shai, and not to say Yahweh Shai wasn't perfect then, right? Because he was, but how much more him being perfect within the spirit and teaching you. Wow, you know. Yeah, so this is Micah chapter 7 verse 10. Then she that is my enemy, saying that, and that's what ends up happening, especially in America, Babylon the Great, right? Especially when the Edomites are ruling over us. Even in the time of Yahweh Shai, when these Edomites were ruling over us, right? It gave a certain power to our women, that, that was never once before, So then she that is my enemy shall see it, right? What they're going to see? They're going to see the second coming of Yahweh Shai. Well, hey, even the first time the Lord came, as Yahweh Shai, being that was a different thing. The Lord showed his authority in the world, but how much more in his second coming? And this time, he gave his men power then to cast out demons, but how much more now? And his second coming is going to be far more. Whoa. It's beyond what you can ever imagine. Demons are going to be cast out of all sorts of people. Boom, boom, boom. Man, it's gonna get good, bro. Everything's gonna get good. But these women, and she that is my enemy shall see it, right? Seeing people getting healed, demons getting cast out. Now, oh my God, these are the. But it's gonna be too late, because there were a time where you were scoffing. Shall shame cover her, which said, right? Because at one point in time you were talking out the side of your neck, which said unto me, where is Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, thy power? Right? Hey, where's God? You talking all this? Look at you. You wearing that stuff. You look like a Power Ranger. You look like a this and that. You look like, all this madness that people are saying. How can you be you're black? You're black. No, you're black. You're void of light, and you're definitely void of understanding, right? We are the Hebrew Israelites, right? Period. Hey, if hey, there ain't no breaking it down. If you don't get it, we're moving on, right? It says, my eyes shall behold her. Now shall she be trodden down, and that's the time that we're coming in, trodden down as the mire of the streets. See? Yeah. Yeah, so this is Mark chapter 6, verse 17. For Herod himself had sent forth and laid hold upon John, right? Which John is Elijah, right? In the reincarnation, right? Reincarnation is biblical. And bound him in prison for Herodias, right? See, this is this chick right here. She is our enemy, right? Yeah, that's this chick. This was an Israelite woman, right? And because these Edomites are ruling, see, and this is the time of Yahweh Shai, and it shows you that when the Edomites are in rule, our women are not our women, right? Because he gives her a particular power or particular position over us, right? Because that happens now. You go to court for child support or this and that, you end up in prison. Really, the child is meant to be yours, right? Your sperm is a living thing. That the egg that she had is nothing without a living sperm. Just like the ground is nothing without a seed, right? The ground is never going to sprout anything that a seed ain't even weeds, right? You go, oh well, weeds have seeds, right? Right? Nothing comes without the seed, and that's why even in the beginning the Lord said, and the seed, and after his kind, right? Showing you that there's no such thing as Mother Nature; it will be Father Nature, right? So these are things they mind manipulate you And thinking there's a such thing as a mother nature, when everything it said, I mean, if you were going to say it, really, it comes from the Father anyway, Yahweh, right? Through his only begotten Son, which is Yahweh Shai. But if overall, when you look at it, it says, and everyone after his kind, and everyone in his seed, in the very beginning. Go back and read it. It's everyone in his kind, after his seed. So it will be a father nature if you were to say something like that, which you'll be closer to truth because there is a father, right? The Most High, Yahweh, right? Which, and Yahweh Shai, which, because Yahweh Shai is also a father too, right? And it says, yeah, held on him and bound him in prison for Herodias' sake, right? His brother Philip's wife. Ooh, see, getting to it, because going back to what we read earlier, if a woman is truly indeed a widow, she's gonna be truly a woman making supplications and prayers and doing the right thing. She's not gonna be a woman who's living in pleasure while she liveth, and that's what this chick did. She was living in pleasure while she lived. So really, she was dead, right? Not knowing, right? But she also was our enemy, right? Asked this guy to get cast into prison, right? For her sake, for Herodias' sake, his brother's Philip's wife, for he had married her. Oh, and then he married this chick. Why his brother was alive, probably still most. Yeah, because that's why he said it. Wow. So what she do? She divorced him, and then he married it. Wow. Wow. He married this divorce, and that's what happens in this. This is showing you this is the society of America, bro, with Esau ruling. There's plenty of women who are married, divorced, and they're married to somebody else. That is complete adultery, bro. That's crazy. Oh man. For John had said unto Herod, it is not right, it is not lawful for thee to have thy brother's wife. Yeah. Just because she divorced him or she whatever, you cannot marry. Wow. Yeah. So but this is under this society, showing you the Edomites then and these Edomites now. It's that same type of society, which makes sense why Yahweh Shai said this is an adulterous generation. Not only you're worshiping other gods, because that's what the Lord said he was going to send us. I'll send you into Egypt again with ships, and you should, you know what I mean? And you should serve your enemies, just breaking it down, serving your enemies, serving gods, other gods, wood and stones, right? You know, it makes sense. That's adultery. That's where we're at here in Babylon the Great. But then you throw on, you could marry a divorcee, right? They have even a saying for it, a divorcee. I'm a divorcee. What's going on, right? But you're only supposed to, if your husband is dead. If he's dead, then you're free to marry. Then you're free to marry another. But hey. Says therefore Herodias had a quarrel against him. Right? She didn't like. Right? Turn up her lip because she's the enemy of the men of the Lord. Right? And would have killed him. See, she wanted to kill him, but she could not. Right? She just she couldn't do it because she's technically just a woman for one. Right? And then of course, you know, other things probably took place. Laws and certain things. If she did this, maybe she'd have got thrown in jail or whatever. However, so she had to play her way. Remember, strong and independent woman, but then you got to call on the Edomite. You got to call on the Edomite for Section 8. You had to call on the Edomite as police for protection, right? But at the same time, I don't need no man, right? But all that's crumbling before you because Esau's rejecting you now. Esau's divorcing you, right? And he don't want you back now. And Herod feared John. See, and that's where we're at now, man. They really fear the men of the Lord, man. But they got but a short time, so they have to act, knowing that knowing that he was a just man and holy, and observed him, and when he heard him, he did many things, right? Right, through the Lord, the spirit and power of the Lord. Right, the many things, and heard him gladly. Right? Yeah, it was mighty words, mighty workings and things done through the Spirit, man. Remember, he was born of the Holy Spirit, right? When Mary came to his mother, the baby leaped in his stomach, and he was born of the Holy Spirit, man. Right? So he did many works, man. Yeah, so this is Matthew chapter 14, verse 3. And for Herod had laid hold on John and bound him and put him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother's Philip's wife, right? And he married this chick, right? For John said unto him, it is not lawful for thee to have her, right? Which is your brother's wife, right? And this is an Edomite. She's an Israelite. He's an Edomite, and he's still just telling him, look, it ain't lawful for you to do that, right? But check out an Edomite, how they behave when because it says that the spirit of him is not upright, right? And he would have put him to death. See, the spirit up in him ain't upright, because that should have convicted you. Like, damn, yeah, you're right. Let me repent, and let me, I ain't right. Hey, chick, get away from me, man. You know what? We can't deal with that. It ain't right for me to do that. But being that their spirit is not upright up in them, right? They have a lot of pride. Right, and then they push that wine, that philosophy in the world. Oh yeah, you can get a divorcee. It doesn't matter. You can do this and that, whatever. He would have killed. He would have put him to death. He feared the multitude, so he would have put him to death, but he feared the multitude because they counted him as a prophet, and more than a prophet. Yahweh said, but more than a prophet. Right? He's Elijah. Right? Greatest prophet ever be reincarnated. How many ever times he been reincarnated? And we believe he was Abba Bibbins. And that was a great work too. Because look, without that, there's no this, there's no us, right? Not even the small insignificant, which is not insignificant. Even you're an affiliate. It's not insignificant, right? It's all part of the body. It says, but when Herod's birthday was kept, the daughter. Hey, see, and then they even go further. This dude go even further into some debauchery, so to speak. When his birthday was kept, the daughter of Herodias danced. So now, when you're dealing with dancing, especially it's sexual, right? Erotic, sexual. So now you had sex. Oh, and this would be like your niece on top. So on top of this is like his. I didn't even think of it. Yeah, because this would be his like his niece. Oh man, that is crazy. Or best, you know what? This is you're the um these days with stepdad. You're the freaking stepdad now. Fucking stepdad is watching his daughter dance sexual, right? Dance before them and pleased Hera. Hey, he was pleased, like, oh yeah, hell yeah. What up, stepdaughter or niece or whatever she would be, right? Because it was his brother's wife that he's just. Oh wow, it's just crazy. Man, whereupon he promised with an oath, right, to give her whatsoever she would ask, right, and being she being before instructed of her mother. Oh, I thought I thought okay, dang. I thought it was something she waited and went back to her mom and asked her, but her mom had already instructed her. Wow, okay. Before it even happened, like, hey, if he ever asks you for the, tell him this what you want. So it says she being before instructed of her mother said, give me here John the Baptist's head in a charger. Wow. Wow. Premeditated already. So she was doing what her mother asked her. And the king was sorry. Like, oh, dang, this dude's a prophet. I didn't want to do that. Yeah, I threw him in jail, but that ain't killing him, you know. But he felt sorry. Nevertheless, for the oath's sake, and them which sat with him, right? So he gotta show off, you know. Now he got to I said this in front of these guys, so I better do it because yeah, go ahead. You know what I mean? Because people people care about what the opinion of men, but they don't care about the opinion of the power, right? At meat, right? When they were eating and drinking for the party, and commanded it to be given her, and he sent and beheaded John in prison, and his head was brought in a charger and given to the damsel, and she brought it to her mother. Yeah, so this is Numbers chapter 7, verse 84. It says, this was the dedication of the altar in the day when it was anointed by the princes of Israel, 12 chargers of silver, 12 silver bowls, 12 spoons of gold. It says, each charger of silver weighed 130 shekels. So, and when I read this is what made me understand what the mother had already, basically requested her daughter to say that for, because first of all, she's getting two birds with one stone. So she wanted to kill John the Baptist anyway, but she couldn't, right? It wasn't in her ability to kill him. But on top of that, she was able to get a significant amount of wealth, So she was saying, hey, look, I can get two birds with one stone. Tell him that we want his head on a silver charger, right? Or on the charger. It said on the charger, but as you know, the chargers or silver. They are made of silver. Right here, just letting you know the chargers are silver, and it weighing 130 shekels. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, right? Which each bowl 70. All these silver vessels weigh 2,400 shekels after the shekels of the sanctuary, right? But yeah, you know, and and this is the time when silver was really actually worth, not like the whatever the thing where they have it now, because they have it pressed down to keep the dollar having some type of power. But pretty soon, once the thing collapses, it's gonna push silver, and that's why gold is at 4,000 right now, which really gold should be a lot higher than that, the actual real worth of it, right? So I think right now silver is at $40. No, $50. It's at $50. It was $40 left, but it jumped up to $50 for an ounce. But that's suppressed because it should be worth way more than that, right? So yeah, I put right here, the 30 pieces of silver, 130 pieces of silver, because that's what it said, 130 pieces of shekels. It says shekels, 130 shekels. So I put, 130 pieces of silver versus ancient times to modern times. So that's what it came up. It says in modern terms, comparison an ancient day's wage to a modern average or minimum daily wage, the value could range widely. Using a minimum wage comparison around $15 an hour, 8 hours a day, will be $120 in the day, averaging, I guess, 15,000 for the year, which should be more than that, because you're talking about 30,000. Because I remember back in the day, I used to make $15 an hour, and my take home at the end of the year when taxes came, it came out to be about 30,000, right? So you're talking 30,000 at the end of the year, but they're saying 15,000. Okay, so using the general average wage comparison, some in estimates for a single piece of silver in today's value are around $100 to $130, which could make 130 pieces of silver. See, which they're showing you that, because right now, if you go look up silver is at 40, I think it's $48. So they got it way down further than what it should be. So even right here, it's telling you it should be $100, anywhere between $100 and $130 for a piece of silver, right? It's showing you even in this thing. So that thing it's not right, right? But they doing it so the things don't go crazy, right? Because the dollar's not backed by anything, which would make 130 pieces of silver worth approximately between 13,000 and 16,900, give or take, which they said 15,000 up there, right? So around between, 13,000, 16,000, right? So that's what it's saying. But I believe it will be a lot more than that, because they're cooking the books, right? So, right? But yeah, it's some type of money though. But basically, she got her you know she killed two birds with one stone. So she was able to kill the person she wanted to kill, right? Even though it was not direct, but he got killed, and then on top of that, she got to put some money in her pocket, right? Yeah. So this Leviticus chapter 20, verse 21. If a man shall take his brother's wife, it is an unclean thing, right? It is an unclean thing. He have uncovered his brother's nakedness. They shall be childless. Which this chick, she already had her child, which this guy was watching her dance, which that was most likely his niece. It was and if not, at best, this is he married her mother, so that would be like his stepdaughter or something. I don't know. Yeah, see, but these are the type of things that happen under these Edomites, man. Right? It says, ye shall therefore keep all my statutes and all my judgment, and do them, that the land whither I bring you to dwell therein spew you not out. In which that happened. We got kicked out of the land of Israel. Right? That's why we're not there now. Now we're under this Edomite all over again, over here, and in the valley of the shadow of death, over here, and the daughter of Babylon, right? So this is Leviticus 18 and 16. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy brother's wife. It is thy brother's nakedness, right? Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter, right? That's what this dude was doing. Neither shall thus take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter to uncover her nakedness, right? For they are her near kinsmen. It is wickedness. And hey, and this is Herod, man. They're Edomites, so they're the border of wickedness, right? They're the seed of wickedness. So now you got these divorcees sending her daughter to dance for her new husband, to ask for a man's life, and to get paid on the back end of it, because it came on a silver charger. So she was able to pocket some blood, literal blood money. It literally had his head in it. Yeah. So with all that, wow. Call Loyim Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakah HaKodash. We gotta give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father, and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To your sisters, your Achwathim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and Ababa Ball and Kwame Asharala. Wow.